So another edition of Friday Night Pint Live, where a few mates get together and we talk about all the latest going-ons in West Ham, in and around West Ham. We've got a lot to talk about today. We're going to be talking about the topic of the performances versus the results. What is more important? Do performances matter if we're still getting results? Obviously, we're talking about some of the players that we've seen so far, new signings, how are they gelling in, and some other stuff that comes to mind. Maybe talk a bit about the All-Star idea from Todd Bowley, what we think about that. But it's going to be a good one. Here with Nicky and Ryan tonight. Lads, how you doing?
I'm well. Thank you very much for asking. Yeah. Been busy.
Sorry, really busy. You asked just as I took a big mouth of drink and I couldn't drink it quick enough. I was panicking. I nearly started choking. I was like, yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. Thank you.
Yeah, it's like we was having this chat in the group chat today. Was like, what are we going to talk about today? Because it's like not much newsworthy's happened other than let's just review the Europa League game. We will talk a bit about that game and look ahead to the Everton game as well. But I just noticed a big sort of debate sort of stirring in the West Ham community of people sort of unhappy with the performances, and then another group saying, well, look, we've only lost one in our last 6, so does it matter? And I'm sort of debating with it in my head on how I feel about it, because I try to temper that urge to look at the negative, even though I fail a lot of the time. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Like, are you concerned at all? Even though we have only lost one in our last 6, which actually it was better than I thought that was when you say it like that. But performances ain't been particularly good. Does that worry you? Or are you just thinking results?
No, I am sorry, mate. I am concerned sometimes by the way we concede goals. But I've seen us play well and lose. So if we play ugly and get wins, I know it's not pretty and not everyone likes it, but it's a results business at the end of the day. And if we're getting points, we need to start picking up more points in the Premier League, obviously, but we're doing well in Europe. We're scoring goals for fun in Europe, but we're conceding. I mean, the goals we conceded last night, especially the second one, was ridiculous. So the performances will come, but as I said, I've seen us play well this season and lose and get nothing. So,
yeah.
Yes. See, I'm 50-50. The problem is we've got with the Conference League is that, at the moment, it is a results business, as Ryan said. At the moment, we're playing these sort of, with all due respect, like these lower teams, and we're not playing particularly well, but we're picking up the results. And I think in the league we have sort of improved. I think the Villa game was a good game. I think Tottenham, we was very unlucky. And I thought Chelsea, we was well worth a point at least, if not all 3. But, in the Europa Conference League, we're going to have difficulties this season with all the players that have come in, and all teams have this, and you've got to be picking up the results as you're sort of transitioning. It wasn't good last night. I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up anyone's arse. I don't think it was good. I think we controlled the game at times and we was controlling it until we shot ourselves in the foot. And that's the real problem. And the problem I've got as at the moment is, like last season, I think it was last season or the season before, we never conceded a goal due to a mistake till about March. I think it was February, March, and there was no mistake. It was very solid at the back, very reliable. And at the moment, we're making silly mistakes. And the problem I've got with the way the team's playing at the moment, we've got some good players in there, and obviously you've got players like Paqueta, who's got a bed in, Scamacca, who's got a great goal last night. But we're not doing the simple stuff right. We're not passing the ball right. We're not. It's like really simple stuff that you learn as a kid, and when you look around the team in terms of passers of the ball, I think Deck's a very good underrated passer of the ball. I think he's a brilliant passer of the ball. But apart from him, there's not a lot that can, knock the ball around. We don't seem to play that stuff. We play on the break, and we hoping for and that's why we struggled a lot. And we're really short of people that can just do the simple 1-2s and all that sort of thing. And you see the way Paqueta's trying to play is he's trying to give these 1-2s to these. He might as well be kicking that ball at a fucking pillar, to be quite honest with you, because they just can't give it back to him.
Do you think, though, as well, that maybe with the lack of conceding the goals, that we haven't really had a settle back for this season? We've had new players coming in. Dawson's been out all season. Obviously, Soufal was out. Johnson was in. Criswell was out. Emerson's in. We haven't had a settle back for, and they've got to get used to playing with each other. But you're right about the link-up play. I see it last night, spells where Paqueta's on the ball and he's looking for the little flicks around the corner, and they're just not on the same wavelength yet. But it will come. I mean, I thought we controlled the game last night. It was only our own downfall that we took our foot off the pedal. We thought 3-1 up, game's over. We could have gone and scored 4 or 5 if we wanted to, but we didn't, and it ended up being a nervous 3-2 win. I thought they had their chances. They was a lot better than what I thought, to be fair. And I think that them scoring early done us a favour because it gave us a kick up the arse.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that we was helped by the ref because I look at that, it's a difficult one with their goal that got ruled out for the foul, because a lot of people, I tried to look at him, but a lot of people are saying that shouldn't have been a corner in the first place, and I'd see, but I can't work out the foul in the box on. It looks like it's not a foul on Areola. Someone in the chat,
Areola's just run straight into him.
Someone in the chat said, according to the BBC, is they noticed a foul on Emerson, a push on Emerson. Now, I didn't get to see that. They didn't show that in the replay. All the focus was on Areola, so I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, with things like that, I think we're due a bit of luck with what's gone on this season, and things like that will happen. When there's not VAR, that just goes back to human error. And let's be honest, the standard of refereeing in that competition is poor. You see the game last week when we was at home. The ref was blowing up every 2 seconds. Every time we had an opportunity to put a whistle in his mouth, he was doing it. So
I was saying last night how refreshing it was, though, not to have the VAR. When we got that penalty, you just like not having to sit there and wait to watch the fucking replays over and over again. Ref points to the spot, it's a penalty. No, I mean,
we might be looking at, like, I think I'd be hypocritical if I didn't sit here and sort of mention this. We might be looking at a situation where in this cup, like, and I'm not trying to blow smoke up our own arse or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I mean this with the greatest respects. We are one of the big fish. We are one of the draws of this competition. The way Man United were last year when they dropped into it. Was it Man United? No, Leicester when they dropped into it. The way Man United are in the Europa League. But we are one of the Premier League team in the competition is a draw at the moment until the teams from the Europa League drop down. We are one of the draws of the competition at the minute. And when you look at that refereeing last night, it was very favourable, in my opinion. Like the same way it was at Chelsea, towards Chelsea. It was, get these through at all costs because these are the ones that are going to draw the eyes to it. With all due respect to Silkeborg, they're not going to draw if they, pull out a shock, win against us, and we end up going out. Silkeborg are not going to draw the crowds in. We're not going to draw the sponsors, the money. They want prestigious teams in there, and although on paper, in the Premier League we're not a big trophy winning team, we are a draw because we're from the Premier League just by default. So there could be a little bit of that going on. I've got no bones about saying it. If I'm going to sit there and say about Chelsea and Man United and all that, I've got to look at that game last night and think, there was something not quite right there. So it is what it is. Like, we take it. I'm not happy about it. that sort of thing. If that's the case, because I like competition, and if we shouldn't have won that game last night. It should have been a draw.
But I think what we got to do is, whether we benefit or not, we need to decide, where we stand on things. Are we for VAR or are we against VAR? Because, we're gonna see situations in this competition where refs get it wrong, one way or another, either for us or against us. However, I feel a lot more comfortable with having a decision go against us that maybe shouldn't have, where the refs not looked at a replay 5-10 times.
Yeah,
I feel a bit less aggrieved.
I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying. I mean, it's not the technology's fault. It's the people running it, and it's the people watching it. I'm with you. I'd scrap VAR tomorrow and go back to just human error, because you can forgive human error, even though it piss you off. We all make mistakes in life, but when you're given brilliant technology to overturn decisions and you're not getting it right, then there's something wrong. And the corruption's got to be the people running it, not the technology. It's not the computer's fault. They're showing you it.
Yeah, the Cornet disallowance at Chelsea would have been easier to take. If they disallowed it and they didn't look at replays, and you think you'd still be pissed, but you wouldn't be as fucking corruption, as outraged. So and that's why, regardless of what happens in this cup, we'll probably be annoyed if decisions go against us. But I just think it's refreshing. It was refreshing not to have the VAR. But on
the thing is, with VAR, with the argument around VAR is in my opinion, it's not ready. It's not ready. It's not ready. It's not, to have something like that, there has to be set, defined rules that are not going to change every season, so people don't know what's going on. That ain't going to take 5 minutes to look at simple decisions. Do not interrupt everything that, every single time that the referee gets the minute, people's toenails being offline. Nobody in the fucking world can see that without a computer. And if you can't see it in a replay, it's not offside. Opinion. Yeah. If you can't see it in a full speed replay, then you can't give it, because there is no human eye in the world that can see that fucking Calvert-Lewin's shoulder is going past Mane's toe. There's no eye in the world. It shouldn't be interrupting things like that, and it certainly shouldn't be taking 5 minutes to make them decisions. That's number one. Number two, we see at the Juventus game this week that they didn't have all the camera angles. How can you make a decision based on cameras when you haven't got all the fucking camera angles? It's absolutely inadequate. It is not ready to be rolled out into multi-billion pounds worth of sports. It's not. Get it right. I don't mean this rudely, but fucking go and play it in some fucking farmers league somewhere. Put it in there until it's absolutely honed and the rules are set that are not going to be changing, not just year in, year out, week in, week out in some cases, where it's not interrupting the flow of play. It needs a major overhaul to be effective. The technology is there. The technology is there. We've got so much technology in the fucking world. We can probably run it from satellites in space that could probably see things like that. The technology is there, and their technology is available. They just haven't implemented it. They've gone feet first into something. We're 4 years into it in the Premier League. That's without being in the World Cup and everything else. It's not ready. It's not ready. If you can't make simple decisions, it's not ready. And they just want it in so they can favour. The league have got it exactly how they want it. As I said before, there was a handball decision I think it was a couple of years ago now, where at one point in the season it was if the ball hits your hand, no matter what, it's a handball. Someone like Tottenham or Man United got a penalty given against them for it because it was the latter of the law, and they changed the fucking law, halfway through the fucking season.
Yeah, honestly,
I mean? It's just being used to corrupt it. But I'm glad this competition hasn't got it. I'm glad this competition hasn't got it, because there is only one man to blame. When we go looking at the Chelsea game, the referee got it right. The referee got it right initially. It was only VAR stepping in that, advised him. Yeah, the referee should not have changed his mind 100%. But when you're getting put into that situation, you know,
But then that comes down to the referee, doesn't it? If you said he's made the right decision, then he's gone and looked at it and then overturned his own decision, then that's down to him. He should,
of course it is.
Yeah,
Of course it is.
The problem is, I was going to say is with the ref, when the ref gets that screen, you end up over analyzing things, and that Bowen thing. When you're watching things on repeat in slow mo, all of that stuff, it starts to look worse than it was, than when you're seeing it right there in real time. So you keep watching it and watching it and watching it to see something that they're telling you is there. You're going to start to think it's there. So I think that's what happens with
slow motion always makes everything look worse anyway. If you play it in real time, the goalkeeper's dived at Bowen's feet, and if you're going on real time, it's going to happen. They're going to collide. Bowen's trying to jump over him. He's going to touch him.
Yeah, exactly. It looks more like premeditated in slow motion because there's all this time going as if Bowen's gone and went, yeah, let me just lift my foot and I'm going to scrape him. And yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean,
you know what? When I think about it now, I'll be honest with you. When I think about it now in a decision, well, I wish you'd have gone into him two studs, fucking into the face, because you might as well have.
Yeah, if you're not gonna, yeah, but then again, he probably would have got a red card or something. But
you're right. Wait a minute, right? It wouldn't be fucking such a loss, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. We might have done a team effect, but because back to the performances, because I tell you what you say, Nick, about the Spurs game and the Chelsea game, but apart from the Nottingham Forest game, which we lost anyway, you know, poorly, I don't think there's any games where we've played well. And we've had good spells in games, but most of the games we've started poorly and played like the first half atrociously, you know, with the Spurs game and the Chelsea game included. And then we'd have like a good 20 minutes in those games.
I think that just comes with bedding new players in. And you know, like Dom said it on the podcast, you know, we sometimes it's not as easy to do this, but we didn't sign people early enough to sort of get them into pre-season. We've had obviously an injury to Aguero who would have been, you know, a big part of the plans this season. And we've had to bring Kehrer in last minute. But there's a few players here that didn't come in early enough, in my opinion, like Skamaka. He could have come in. You know, I don't know the details. I don't know the ins and outs of the transfer, so I don't know whether it was possible. But if it was possible, we should have got him in earlier. You know, we should have got these.
That doesn't really excuse the players, the existing players, the players that we had last season, because Moyes hasn't exactly thrown in all the new signings to start.
No, but I think it's harsh to be able to look at players and expect them to be exactly the same as they ended last season. That's form. You know, Bowen's out of form. You know, is Bowen a bad player? No, he's not a bad player, but he's out of form. You know,
out of form.
Soufal is out of form. Souček out of form. You know, there's you know, I think it's a bit harsh to, you know, expect them to be running on that you know, and you know, there are differences of you know, different reasons why that could be, you know, the issue and all that, but you know, it is what it is. But that's why you've got a squad, you know, and we have got a squad now.
But we are, because this is the thing. Like, as much as results are important, look, if we played shit all season and won every game, you know, you'd fucking win the league and you'd take that. But I don't think it's sustainable to have poor performances week in, week out, and keep expecting to sort of scrape over the line, whether a point here or a win here, and then just lose. I think we have to start seeing us start well, playing good. You know, we're getting into game 7 now, and it's still fairly early doors, but this is the point where we want to start to get some
Amadix just says there is no excuse. Haaland never arrived early. He's banging a goal in every 40 minutes. There is a stark difference, mate, between what we signed and Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland is probably, at the moment, the best player in the fucking world. Like, they are why they are playing for the likes of Man City and things like that.
It's not only about Haaland, mate. It's about what he's got around him. He's got one class around him in every position. So you could put Skamaka in that team, and he'd probably be scoring goals for fun. You know, Haaland is just a different breed of football player. The geezer's unreal.
I just think
genius.
Yeah, I mean, that goal he scored the other day was fucking unreal, honestly. But Nicky, with the form thing, right? Do you not think it's concerning to have so many players out of form at the same time? Even Rice isn't. He's not shit. He's not been shit, but he's not been up to his standard, is what I would say. He's not been on right. Like, to have so many players just dropping form like at the same time, and someone pointed out you've got pre-season, all of that stuff to try and get you warmed up and for the season. It's just having the new signings not gelling in right away, and then the existing players.
I think there's certain players when they're out of form that they affect other people's form. I think like the likes of being Bowen, likes of Bowen out of form, who's normally, you know, Mr. Reliable, scores your goals, works hard. But when the likes of him are out of form, it affects other players around him, and the, you know, the downfalls of certain players and the pitfalls of certain players look exaggerated when you've got the people. Soufal, for instance, like playing up the same side as Bowen, they're both out of form. But I think when Bowen's out of form, it really highlights his flaws. You know,
but Moyes won't drop him.
Look, that's the manager's prerogative, isn't it? Maybe he wants to play him into form, you know, and that can happen.
But then how long do you play someone into form? You know, you're in 10 games, 12 games. Like, it seems to be he'll play certain players into form. Like Ben Rama, he'll have a good game, and then maybe he'll have a bad game, and then he's dropped. You know, and it's like
Gary Pace says Bowen wants to be at Liverpool. End of. Do you know what? For one thing, I hate it when people sign off with end of. It's not end of. You know nothing about Bowen. I know nothing. Ryan knows nothing. Dan knows nothing. So please do not come at me with end of, because that's a fucking ridiculous even conversation.
He's just, yeah, I don't know. He to me, I don't know if it's a confidence thing or what, but yeah, he's not been good at all, and it's a shame. It's a shame, but I just think you've got to be able to drop him if he's not playing. Well, that doesn't send a good message to the other players, the other team who does get dropped, you know, and they look, oh, it's the favourite. But we need to start bringing these players back in, I think, into form one way or another.
I'm sure there's enough talent in that team that if they was to hit form and click, that they will start putting in the performances. You know, as you said though, we're 7 games in. You know, we've already played. What's that? That's our 4th game in Europe now.
Yeah.
We're only in September at the moment, so it's going to get harder. There's more games to come. Obviously, we've got that game that was postponed the other day, but that probably won't be till next year. But we've got the Carabao Cup as well coming up. So, I mean, one thing I was a bit surprised with last night was Downs didn't feature at all.
Yeah, shocking.
I'm wondering whether he may be saving him for Sunday. Because the way he played last week, got man the match, and then to not even get a minute last night was, unless he picked up a sort of last minute knock or something in the warm up, and he just didn't want to risk him, like bringing him on. I don't know, but I found that very odd. That he didn't use him at all last night.
Because you want to, well, the fact that
unless Downs is allergic to plastic pitches.
Yeah, it might have been like, he won't do good on the plastic pitch. But yeah, you do want to build on that, don't you? Like, if he has a good performance, you want him to go right straight away. Then you're playing again. Let's see if you can emulate that performance. So
because I can imagine Downs would have been absolutely buzzing last week. You know, playing well in front of his home crowd. You know, he's a West Ham fan. You know, man of the match. Everyone giving him the right plaudits. You know, he deserved it. And then all of a sudden, he doesn't even find himself. Not even coming on last night. So, yeah, there might be something behind it that we don't know. But, yeah, I'm sure Cornet, for me, is looking a lot sharper, a lot better. He's getting involved more. He's got a few assists now. He's won a couple of penalties. Whether they were both penalties, I'd probably say they wasn't. But, you know,
that one yesterday was stone wall, that penalty, I think.
Yeah, he hit the back of the net again yesterday, but obviously it was offside. But
he's got to learn the offside rule, please, man. Please.
It wasn't him that was offside, though, was it? It was it Ben Rama, I think?
He does get caught out offside a lot, though.
Yeah. But
it's frustrating.
No, I mean, Skamaka's finish last night. What a hit! You know, what a hit. You know, you see it last night. His touches in and around the box. And then for him to just turn and even attempt it. Because I've seen us get in them positions before with other players. And they want to knock it around the box. You know, he looks like he's just going to, as soon as he gets an opportunity, he's going to hit it. And he might hit 10 shots and only score 3 goals, but that's better than nothing.
The thing is with that, mate, is that, you know, with someone that smacks one of them every now and then, it's the element of surprise. Nobody's, you know, when's the last time you see someone hit a ball like that at West Ham? Be honest. I can't remember.
Well, Antonio tries it every game and it goes in Rose Ed. So
he does. He tries it every game.
I've seen him score one like that recently inside the box where he took it, turned, and smacked it in there. But not. I
tell you, who used to try that quite a lot was Haller, and it come off a couple of times.
Yeah. That's probably the last player that we've had that could hit one from that distance. I mean, for all his faults, mate, he was a beautiful striker of the football. That's for sure. You know, and he did score some spectacular goals. He just needed to get himself in them positions a little bit more. But it's refreshing to see someone that's going to strike it like, because it gives you another dimension to your game.
It'd be
interesting, you know, in terms of like, you know, people are not, you know, they're going to have to watch everything you're doing rather than thinking, right, well, I know what they're going to do. They get into that position. He's going to go out to the wing and then he's going to go back in so they can set themselves. Now they're going to be looking at it thinking, well, if, you know, I can't leave him alone because he's going to turn around and smack one in the back of the net. So, yeah, it's good. It's good.
It'd be interesting to see what Moyes does on Sunday because, as I said, Scamacca must be on a high after that last night, getting himself a goal, a few more minutes. So, whether he's fully fit to start at Everton, because look, comparing Everton to the team last night that we played, they're miles apart. Yeah. You know, Goodison Park, as I said the other day on the podcast, when it's in full voice and the crowd are behind them, it's a tough place to go. But we unsettle them early. You know, we play our football. We can get 3 points there. There's nothing saying that we can't. And I think we're good enough to beat Everton on Sunday. But it'd be a tough game. But Scamacca, for me, I would probably start him on Sunday. I would.
I mean, it was interesting that Antonio didn't come on at all last night. So that's made me thinking maybe he's looking for Antonio to start, and we might not see.
Maybe with Antonio as well. I think they might, once they got there and looked at the conditions of the pitch. You know, Antonio had a lot of injuries over the years, and them sort of surfaces, like if you've had knee injuries or ankle injuries, it can.
He would have been falling all over the place.
Yeah, so maybe they must have thought, do you know what? We've got enough out there to beat him. Right, let's just leave Antonio on the bench, not bring him on.
One of the other decisions I thought was, I didn't quite agree with, I didn't quite like, was the five at the back. You know, why he played that, which I also don't think is as sort of optimum for someone like Paqueta to play in like that. That sort of surprised me a little bit that he went like that. I thought we could have gone with our usual formation and sort of gone at him a bit more, because I thought Creswell and Dawson, like he got the goal, but like that was his first game back, wasn't it? Or was it his first start? Yeah. Definitely his first start back, and I thought that was so weird. I thought
he was all over the place last night. It was his fault for their first goal, him dropping off when the others were trying to play onside. And that's what I'm saying. When you're playing as a makeshift back four, he's never played with Correa before, so it's getting used to these players. It was important. They could have had a second not long after. So
I don't get why Ogbonna didn't play, because Ogbonna's been
once again probably because of the pitch, because he's had bad knee injuries. Them pitches are shit. I don't know why professional teams have them. I know that, like, in the long run, maintaining them, you don't have to do nothing to them. But
it's not. I don't think it's so much that, mate. It's like in them sort of Nordic countries, it's about the weather. Like Dom phoned me last night, and he said it is absolutely freezing over there at the minute, like absolutely bitterly cold. And when it gets to like, I think Russia has a lot of them as well. When it gets to sort of like November, December, January, February, if you didn't have them pitches for them smaller teams, they'd have to call a lot of games off because they're just completely frozen. So they have to have them sort of pitches just to get through the season unscathed, really, in terms of like, you know,
there's a couple of teams up in Scotland that have got them as well.
The same. Probably the same thing.
I don't think there's any in the English leagues, from what I know of. Is it? No, I think there might be one team in the lower leagues. I can't think who it is, but there might be. But
QPR used to have one in the 80s.
Yeah, yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah,
but, I mean, Yeah, it's probably why some of them players didn't play last night, because they just didn't want to risk the getting injured on them pitches.
Yeah, I mean, I think that does add a little bit of positivity to the result. That, you know, we did go there and then players had to deal with that pitch and we come away with something, because the players were falling all over the place. They could barely stay on their feet, and then the players were quite physical. So I think the fact even Dawson mentioned it, the pitch was a bit difficult to play on. So yeah, ultimately with that, you definitely take the result. But I want to see us really start well on Sunday. I want to see us start on the front foot.
As long as we're picking up the results at the moment, I think it's going to click, and I think we're going to turn into a good team once all these players start getting used to each other. Like, there is qualities in Paqueta. Is he playing the best at the moment? Is he at the ground running? Not really, you know what I mean? But you can see what he's trying to do, and he's trying to add another depth to the game. They have to learn Paqueta's game. Scamacca is the same. They have to learn Scamacca's game. Cornet is the same. Cornet probably has to learn everyone else's game, because he seems to run, you know, 4 seconds before everyone else is ready to pass.
The thing is with Paqueta as well, he has to learn their game. He has to. Sometimes he can't be doing all the tricks and flicks all the time. He's got to learn other players' games and how we play as well. It's about gelling and learning off each other.
Should we get some comments, see what anyone has got to say about performances or anything like that? I'll get some comments in. Oldham had a plastic pitch, apparently.
Yeah, Luton as well. Luton had one.
Luton, yeah. Someone saying Luton. Yeah, honestly, to be like a professional footballer having to play on those, poor drainage in the 80s, things have improved. A lot of that. Cornet took a bit of stick from some fans, but he wasn't playing in his best position, and he put a lot of effort in and took a few knocks. That's very true. He did. They were really knocking him all over the place. Cornet, they were picking on him quite a bit. I think it was causing him a bit of problems. So I think, yeah, a lot of people over-exaggerated his performance there. Paqueta is a 4 nows plus player. How long was Pablo given? When you say Cornet 4 nows plus,
4 nows didn't start off his West Ham career.
No, he didn't hit the ground running.
He's become a fan's favourite now, and he's a hard worker, and that's why Moyes picks him. You know, look, Paqueta's got the talent. We know he has. We know what he can do. You know, you don't get many shit Brazilians, do you?
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I'm sure we've definitely had some.
Well, yeah, Felipe Anderson wasn't great, but on his day he was all right.
yeah, good. But come Sunday, it'll either be cheers or tears. I'm hoping it'll be the former. Yeah, we definitely need to bloody win that game. We need it. Start pushing up the table. Start looking upwards.
I feel we've been unlucky. We like the thing is, when you look at the league, the first 3 games were piss poor. I mean piss poor. They was fucking awful games. I think we was unlucky in the Forest one, but you know, we had chances. We should have buried a few. You know, we had more than enough chances to win that game. It was just one of them games where, you know, the Brighton game, as per usual, was absolutely fucking awful, and the City game, like, you can't really blame them for losing to City, because everyone's going to. But I didn't think we gave a good account of ourselves that day. That's what I would say. First half against Villa.
Moyes doesn't know his best team. Do you think that we're at?
Yeah,
that stage?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But you know, first half against Villa, we were terrible. Come out second half, we was completely different. I thought we was similar against Tottenham, although I thought we was good enough that day to get the win. I didn't think they deserved the draw. I think, you know, I said a fair result, but when I look back at the chances we created, I think we could have smoked them that day. And I think the same at Chelsea. Chelsea could have gone either way. And it was only, you know, if you forget, just before Havertz scored the winner, and before we had a goal to Cornet hit the post when he should have been burying it. If he buries it, we win. You know,
I'm just worried about how we're starting games. We're starting very poorly, and you feel like now, if we go a goal down, we're not going to go on and win it. And we need to try and score first to have a hope of getting 3 points in a game. That's my concern, because Moyes, obviously, whatever he does at half time,
he did score first at Chelsea.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what the hope that we have to have. Like the only hope we can have of winning the game is scoring first, because lately it seems like if we go a goal down,
yeah, I don't think that's right.
that seems to have been this season though.
Nah, we've got characters. There's a few players just out of form. There's a few players just trying to bed in. I don't think we're sitting in a I think we're sitting in a bit of a false position with 4 points, to be honest with you. I don't think we should have more points than 4 points, in my opinion. But, we are where we are. That's why you don't look at the table till 10 games, really. If after 10, 12 games, we're still sitting in like a similar position with a similar amount of points, then, changes need to be made. The thing is, like, when you look at the performances against Villa, the poor sections of the games have been more when we've got the new players sort of trying to bed in, and the improvements come when the old guards come on, fresh and ready to go. You know what I mean? So yeah,
I don't think I'm liking the 5 sub rule though, because when we seem to bring on 3 players at once, it always seems to unsettle the team quite a bit, and it happened last night.
I think the 5 subs rule, obviously, it favours the big teams, but I don't like the fact that you have to bring on a batch of players at one time, because I think it sort of like panics the managers into having to make them substitutions. To be quite honest with you, like they feel like they have to use them.
I understand it for time purposes, but like you said, it forces you then where you would maybe bring on one and go, oh, I can bring on the other 2 in a bit later. You just have to go, right, let's throw 3 on now and take 3 off. But they obviously do it for time reasons.
I think obviously as well, you got to look at the next few fixtures in the Premier League. They're the sort of games where we need to pick up wins and points. You've got Everton, Wolves, Fulham, Southampton, Bournemouth, Liverpool. They're the sort of games that, all right, take away the Liverpool one because we know it's going to be difficult. And all games in the Premier League are difficult, but some of them games, and if we're still in a similar position after the next 5 games, then yeah, we need to start questioning, what's going wrong, and is Moyes, because Moyes, if we don't pick up points in them games, then obviously people are going to be calling for Moyes out already. I mean, I've seen people on social media today and people uploading videos about we should get Pochettino in, and I think they're in a dream world, really, thinking about Pochettino. So let's just get behind David Moyes. We can all question Moyes, of course we can. We question Moyes. Everyone's entitled to question David Moyes.
Yeah.
But look, are we in really that position now where we think we've got to go after what he's done?
Yeah, it'd be silly giving him, the biggest budget we've ever given a manager, and then sacking him 7 games into the season, and then getting a new manager at this point would be ridiculous. Obviously, the fact that he's been given so much money is going to put him under greater scrutiny, but he has to be allowed the time to develop this team that he's building and get them firing. We can't, just because we've started quite poorly and some of the performances haven't been there, we can't just hit the panic button, and sack him, because it's ridiculous.
People talking about Pochettino. I talked to I got a friend that supports PSG. He's out of work because he's a very negative manager. If you think that he's going to come and change everything that Moyes has done and undo all his work and then start again by being this fucking attacking genius, no, he's out of work from PSG because he was a very negative, defensive-minded manager.
Well, he played good football at Spurs. They played really good football at Spurs.
Look at the players they had. Do you know what I mean? Like, they played good football, but he had a lot of time to sort of adapt that team. People forget how long it takes and how much work it takes to mould a team into your fit. He's not going to come in and change everything in what. And like, I see someone there, Claret, and you are reporting Moyes is under huge pressure. He's under huge pressure because he spent a lot of money. But do you think they're going to give? We're not Chelsea. We're not going to give him 280 million quid to go and spend and then sack him after 6 games because it ain't going our way. I think people are very, very. like very, very harsh on him. And you got to look at where we were when he took over. Like, we were in the fucking shitter. And you think, you know, when people saying this boring, negative football, you know, people at Everton are saying that about Frank Lampard. We was conceding goals like fucking, like someone was opening a fucking dam when he came in. You know what I mean? We couldn't play fucking football. We've gone 2 seasons. As I said last season, we've started the season not great, you know. After getting to a European semi-final, finishing 6th the year before, and he's trying to build an improved squad. You got to give him time. Of course, you got to give him time. Whoever's calling for him to be out and saying about all this negative football, first rules first, mate. You look at the best managers in the world. The first thing that they stop conceding goals. You know, and that's what Lampard's done at Everton. You know, Everton could have gone out and signed all of these attacking players. They didn't. They went out. They blew their budget on the defensive players because they knew that's where the weaknesses lie.
You know what? Go on, sorry.
No, just give him, like, don't be stupid. Like, does he piss me off? Yeah. Is he fucking perfect? No, he isn't perfect. You know, can he do things differently? Yeah, of course he can. But every manager can. You know. I just don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what these people want. I don't know who the fuck you think we are, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I think the turnaround that David Moyes has had since he's gone back to the club and the memories he's given us and the European campaign last season, he's earned the right to have a bad spell. You know, when I look back the other day and I remember his first game when we come back, we played Bournemouth and we won 4-0, and I looked at the lineup that day. And it was Fabianski, Fredericks, Balbuena, Ogbonna, Creswell, Snodgrass, Rice, Noble, Fornells, Anderson, and Haller. And I mean, you look at that team now, probably it's only really Fabianski, Creswell, and Fornells that are starters under him. You know, Ogbonna ain't a starter anymore because of obviously his injury, but he said it would take about 3 or 4 transfer windows to get the squad that he wants. And I think we are building a really good squad. You look at our bench last week. You know, we looked at the bench, and that's the first time in a long time that I've looked at our subs and thought, yeah, there's game changers on there. There's firepower on there. There's goal scorers on there. You know, and that's what we need, and that's what we lacked a little bit last season. Maybe if we'd have had that last season, we might have gone one better in Europe. But look, we learned from that. Yes, we've dropped down in Europe into the Conference League, but don't turn your nose up at it. It's a massive. No. It's a European competition. You know, Roma took experience last year. And they went on to win it. You know, Leicester took it serious. They lost it. Was it the semi-finals they went out?
Napoli, yeah.
Yeah. So, and there's some big teams still to drop into this competition. So, win the group. Yeah. So you don't have to play that next round. Get that little bit of rest. You don't have to play in February time, I think it is, and then we go in March like we did last season, and we turned over Seville, then Lyon, and then unfortunately we lost to Frankfurt over 2 legs, but. I think Moyes has earned the right to have a bad spell. And when you're getting people calling them out, I said it last week, it's all for views and it's all for reaction and things like that. And if you really thought that, because I've seen the people that are saying it, what they were saying last season, they're the only ones that are backing David Moyes and we've got to get behind Moyes. Now, all of a sudden, they want Moyes gone because it doesn't suit their agenda anymore because people are starting to get behind Moyes. Now they're thinking, oh, shit, what do we do now? No, now I say, we don't want David Moyes. Now people get on at me. So just if you're you know, have the right intentions.
David says, let's talk again when Scamacca is on the bench in 5 games' time, coming on for the last 30 minutes. If he's on the bench in 5 games' time, mate, that's his prerogative. If he wants to keep him on the bench, he wants to keep him on the bench. He's the one that sees him every day. Will it be frustrating for the fans? Yeah, it is. But, you know, you have to trust his position. Mr. May says, something about what was it about? He don't know how to use Paqueta. He's only just got Paqueta. Give him a chance.
The thing is with Scamacca, if he's on the bench in 5 games time and Antonio's starting, but Antonio's scoring goals and doing well, then he should be on the bench.
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
play someone because of his name or how much he cost. It's about form, and if Antonio's in form scoring goals, unfortunately, you're on the bench.
But if he's not, and he's on the bench, questions will be asked for sure.
The Moyes' opinions aren't early season overreactions. Our league's form's been pony since January. We owe him some loyalty for the last 2 seasons, but this run can't continue. Our league form's improved.
Yeah, no, I sort of agree with what he's saying there. When you look at,
So do I. So do I. But when
yeah,
you look at you look at the end of last season, the beginning of this season, we started off really bad. We ended the last season really bad because we had Europe to contend with. This season we've got a better squad. He's bedding the squad in. The first 3 games were fucking pony. The last 3 games have been a lot better. We should beat Tottenham. We should have beat Chelsea.
Well, yeah, like I said, you've got to give him the chance to see this spend through. Now, you don't just give him a shitload of money and go, well, obviously last season the results were bad and we're going to give you loads of money. Oh, first 6 games, the performances ain't been there. You've got to give him a chance to see that spend through and to try and get the squad firing. He has to have the chance.
Yeah, Hammers Mikey, you're mad, mate. There's a good reason why Moyes has never won fuck all in his managerial career, but the rose-tinted specs of
Specs offenders
will still be brainwashed for think he's the best thing since Lance Hovis. What did Pellegrini win? How much money did Pellegrini spend? Where the fuck did we get under him? Almost down in the fucking championship. So fucking buck your fucking ideas up, mate, and give the geezer a chance.
The thing is, as well, like I bet Hammers Mikey was all over Moyes last season when we was in the semi-finals of Europe, and they were singing Super David Moyes. You know, you're gonna have that thing. Yeah, Moyes hasn't won anything in his career, but there's a lot of managers that haven't won anything in their career. You know, everyone's banging on about Pochettino. He fucking won a trophy with PSG. Fuck me, I can go and win trophies with PSG, given what he's got. There's a lot of top managers that have never won anything. So look, I understand. Look, if that's his opinion, that's his opinion. Then fair play to him. Stick to it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been quite vocal about Moyes. I mean, I've always been one of the more who's criticised him maybe more than others. I've never been Moyes out since he's come back. I've never said it.
Listen, Pochettino, Premier League. Pochettino had one of the best squads in the Premier League in Tottenham. In that 15-16 season, they was one of the better squads. Won nothing. Not even a League Cup. Not even a League Cup with Tottenham. With banging form Harry Kane, banging form Son, all of them players around him. Won absolutely fuck all. Nothing.
Yeah. However, I will say on Moyes, with how cautious he's been with transfers, decision not to sign players in January, wait for the summer. I really need to see this season these transfers be successful. Maybe not all of them. Obviously, that's unrealistic to expect every transfer to be a hit. But we need to see, okay, here's why you waited and here's how it's borne out, you know. So Paqueta is going to be a good fit for our squad. And we're not looking and going, no, we don't suit our style of play. Or Skamaka don't suit our style of play. And this don't. Or this player's not good enough. Like, this has to come off now. You've been given time. You've been given money.
I agree with that.
You know, we have to start to see it bear fruit.
I do agree with that to a certain extent. I don't think I don't think the pressure should be on him too much in terms of like it's a bit of a transitional season. We lost a lot of players. We brought a lot of players in. People just wanting to pull the trigger on him just because it's not the style of play they want to see. At the end of the day, like whether you like it or not, the team's built around his style of play at the moment.
If we're calling it a transitional season, what are we expecting? Because to say, a lot of time you say transitional season, obviously this season could be a bit shit, but next season we're expecting to be good.
What, mate? It don't matter. As long as we don't go down, win that Conference League, and I think we will be back where we want to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, we can finish 17th and win the Conference League, and ultimately, I mean, it'll be a miserable season in the league, but at the end of the season, we'll be feeling pretty great. However, that putting all our eggs in one basket like that,
I don't think we won't be. I think we're going to probably finish about 7th or 8th. I think that's where we'll end up finishing. But if you win the Conference League, we're back to where we want to be, and that's and we it's all about consistency, And I always said this is going to be a test for Moyes. This season is going to be a test for Moyes because you're losing a very, especially when you're losing people like Noble. It's a big shock to the system when you lose people like Noble out of a changing room. It's people underestimate how much people like that do in a changing room. Change of club captain, change of direction for The style of play we have. It's not easy. It's not easy to do. As you like people were saying about Erling Haaland and all that. It's not. We ain't got the money or the pulling power to get people like Erling Haaland in. So we've got to get people in that fit our system, fit our club, fit our ethos, people that we can attract. And like, we're playing European competition. And the only important thing this season, whether it be through league or through, or through the Europa Conference League, is to be playing it again next season, because that's when people start to take notice. Oh, they've been in European competition. They become mainstay. Look, whether you like it or not, right? And whether you sit here and think about, when you're thinking about Pochettino and things like that with Tottenham, whether you like it or not, whether they've won nothing, whether you want to sit there, take the piss, the reason why they are in a position, why they've been to a Champions League final, why they've been in the Champions League and have got top players and a top team and a top manager, is because they stayed around them European competitions for so long. They stayed in the Europa League, positions, that consistency, waiting for a couple of teams to drop out. And for them, Man United and Arsenal fell. They fell, and Tottenham snuck in there, and that's why Tottenham have had the chance to sneak in there and improve their team and get the good managers and get the good stadiums and the good players and the good money. That is important. That is a model that you have to follow, whether you like it or not. But they have honed the model that you need to follow to be able to compete with the teams that got the money, because inevitably the teams that have got the money at some point will have to transition. Chelsea won the Champions League. They finished 10th in the league, and that's the only reason Tottenham didn't get in the Champions League that year. There will be inevitably times. Liverpool could do it this year quite easily. Look at the way Liverpool started. Liverpool won the Premier League. They won the Champions League and all that. And they've started nearly as bad as us. Like, it doesn't always happen. It does. Like, and what have they done? They've lost a top player in Mane. They've signed a couple of top players. It hasn't quite worked out for them. Will it work out for them? Of course it will. But you've got to give them time.
Yeah. Well, I've got a question to ask you two. On the back of that, I'll just read this super chat. Come on, you Irons, says James Billing, 179. Thank you very much, James. Come on, you Irons. That's the little bit of a, the bit of G'ing up we needed at the end of that debate for sure. But I wanted to get your opinions on this proposed idea of an all-star game every season from Todd Bowley, like they do in the NBA and all that, where it'd be a North versus South all-star sort of match where you have the best players from the southern teams versus the best players from the northern teams, and the money would be distributed throughout the football pyramid. A lot of mixed and to sort of negative reactions on this from what I've seen.
Yeah, I think if they was to get it right, it'd be exciting. Maybe a season opener or something at the end of the season before the players go off on their holidays. But will the clubs release their best players? I don't know. I don't think they would. We had this discussion the other day on the podcast about it as well, and we all said as well, it probably wouldn't even be played over here. It could be played in America or in Dubai or wherever.
Oh God!
So it's one of them. It's an exhibition game. But look, I'd be up for it. It'd be exciting to see. For me, I said this the other day as well. I think the North just sways it a bit for me with quality of players, but I'd still support the South all day long.
My idea, right, for it, and I said this on the London Carnage show today, got slated by the panel and the comments. I would be up for it if it was North versus South, like internationals, right? Okay, if you want to play for the North, you've got to be from the North. If you want to play from the South, you've got to be from the South. Listen, I know you're scrunching your face up, but the idea of it, for me, is it comes into that pride. There is a North-South divide. There is that sort of competition. There's that sort of, they call us Southern fairies, we call them Northern, dirty Northern bastards and all of that stuff. If you had players that were actually Northern, playing for Northern pride against Southern players, there'd be stakes there. And then you have the trophy. And rather than just like, oh, let's just get these players who don't even feel any connection to North or South and they're just going to play a friendly. Actually have some stakes and a bit of pride. Like, we're playing for the fucking North here. Do you know what I mean? You got Declan Rice and Harry Kane and flipping, all the other Southern players.
Tell me who.
Reece James, Chilwell. Listen, if I sat down, I could pick an 11 just from the Prem alone for North and South. But don't you think that'd be more interesting? Like, because if it's
it'd be hard. It'd be hard to get two teams of just Northerners and Southerners, and the quality wouldn't be as great as having Northern team players versus Southern team players. But I do understand what you're saying in a way, but I just think
there'd be more passion. I think.
See, I don't think there'd be. I think football's different these days. I think if that would have been something in the 80s, then you would have seen a proper game of football. But I think now they're all too pally. You see it now in the tunnel before they're going out to have war on the pitch. They're all shaking each other's hands and cuddling and fuck all that. Like, that happens after the game in the tunnel. When you're in that tunnel, you're going to war with these players. But I think it'd be too pally now, and it'd be like they'll all be laughing and joking on the pitch. They wouldn't take it as serious.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be like a derby on the pitch, but I think there would be that tension there. There'd be that expectation on the fans we would want to be able to say, yeah, fucking Southern players are better than Northern players.
I'm going to tell you why. Because it wouldn't sell.
That's ultimately the thing. It would sell, I think, to locally to
us.
A lot of English.
Yeah,
people,
to us, it would sell to the English, but it does absolutely nothing for their brand. And look, like it or not, this is what it comes down to. And I said this the other day on a podcast. The only way this sort of thing would happen is if they could take it on the road. It would be, a bit like the 39th game. They would take it on the road to the likes of India and Dubai and massive places that have got massive support. America, the Far East and all that sort of thing, and they sell it. That's the only way it would happen, and that's the only way, as Ryan said, they wouldn't allow their players to go. But if there was money involved, and all of this nonsense about distributing it down the league, they've got enough money to distribute down the league anyway. Why don't they fucking start distributing the stuff that they've got? Don't talk about fucking some North versus South fucking thing where they're going to sell their product over and over again to the fucking countries that are desperate to see it. Dressing it up in a thing. They've got enough money to distribute down the league. If they're going to distribute money down the league, distribute it down the league. Don't try and sell this fucking stupid game of football to the world and dress it up as we'll distribute it. We'll go and fucking bail Berry out for 50 grand's worth of debt that they went into fucking administration for. They've got money to distribute down the fucking league. If don't insult me.
I'm just sitting here now thinking of Ronaldo looking around his family tree, seeing if he's got a granddad from Middlesbrough or something. So
I mean, because I think if they did it how we're proposing, like an all-star game with all the best players from the Southern teams, I just think it wouldn't be as good in practice as it sounds on paper. It sounds amazing, like, you're going to see De Bruyne playing with Salah and all that shit. But I don't think the players would really put the effort in. It would be like a pre-season friendly. Unless there's something they can actually win where there's status and they can go, I've won something that I can put in my, in my cabinet or something.
I remember when, I think it was back in 2008 when West Ham played the MLS All-Stars. I remember because David Beckham played in that game, didn't he, for the MLS All-Stars? I think we lost 2-1 or something like that, or 3-1, whatever. Dean Ashton. It was when Dean Ashton played for us. It was about 2008, and I can see what they're trying to do, but a lot of Borough fans saying, "Come on, Ryan, nothing wrong with the Borough." I never said there was, but for some reason, Middlesbrough was just the first northern place to come. Middlesbrough's a beautiful part of the world. I ain't got nothing against Middlesbrough. It was just the first place that come in my head.
I love you to bits, mate, and I respect our fan there, but the Borough fan, Middlesbrough is not a fucking beautiful part of the world by any stretch of the imagination.
No, but the people that I know from Middlesbrough, I mean, fuck me, Middlesbrough probably think that like East London's a shithole.
It is a shithole, but
I know, but it's not a shithole.
Yeah,
Like,
it's our shithole, but that is the thing. I love the people from Middlesbrough. They are
Yeah.
wonderful people, working class, down to earth people, and that's you know, I love people like that because that's where we're from. But there's something I wouldn't be able to describe Middlesbrough, and that's a fucking beautiful place in the world.
It must have some beautiful parts in there, innit?
Of course it has. Yeah, but
yeah, let's be honest, mate. The only time you went to Middlesbrough was to go to the game, so you've never really explored Middlesbrough.
no, I have been to Middlesbrough.
Oh, here we
I
go.
have been to
I knew
Middlesbrough.
this was coming. Here we go.
No, I have been to Middlesbrough, but I went to Middlesbrough to work a couple of times.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, for some reason, I don't know why we're onto this, but yeah, Middlesbrough was just. I should have said.
Yeah.
All right, I should have said Newcastle.
I literally just turned down the chance to go and do some work in Middlesbrough like yesterday. I was like, I can't. I don't fancy that long journey. But there's another idea actually. Obviously, after Mark's question, there's a second part to this that I want to find out that he had another idea, another bright idea. But yeah, do you want to? We can read out. Do you want to read out Mark's question? You put.
Yeah, Mark says. Mark Schemberg says, "Do you not think that this could be a back door for the top six to join a Super League?" At this point, mate, I'd open the door for them.
Yeah. They can piss off as far as
with the Super League. I don't think that'll happen. It won't happen. Not with the English clubs anyway. It might happen with the Spanish, the Italians, but it definitely won't happen with the English clubs after the backlash they got.
They're finding other ideas, aren't they, for their alternatives, like these wild card. Like if you've got, certain coefficient, even if you finish 10th, you can still qualify.
They're trying to reshape the Champions League, in to make it a sort of Super League, Champions League thing. But
but when UEFA sat there, and this is the thing, it reflects in the fines and the way UEFA sat there saying, we won't tolerate this, we won't tolerate this. They got them in the back room and said, don't go there. We'll sort it out for you. We'll turn this into the Super League.
Scumbags. But yeah, the other idea, which is quite an interesting one that Bowley had, a little bit more much more interesting actually in the All-Star game, was this idea of taking the bottom 4 teams in the league and having a tournament, and whoever wins that tournament gets to stay in the Prem. So you'd have, say, like 20th facing 17th or something, and 18th.
Don't fuck about with it.
The thing is, I've always said, to spice it up a little bit, is that whoever finishes third from bottom should play the team that wins the playoff final, and then as a little, then it goes into the Premier League. That might be a bit better.
But could you imagine winning the playoff final? You're like, hey, and you're like, oh fuck, we've got to play this team.
You don't play a playoff like, so it wouldn't be like a sort of playoff final. It'd just be like whoever finishes third from bottom in the Premier League plays the second, plays the second place team in the Championship, and then have a game up. But yeah, I mean, we could sit here all night. I mean, in a minute we'll be saying that all 20 teams put one person in. We have a big Premier League Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely rather see it changed. Sorry, not change, stay the same. But if you are going to change it, I don't mind so much the idea of, okay, we have a playoff to get promoted, and you have a playoff to stay up.
I think
so. There's 2 playoffs.
Years ago, that would have been a brilliant idea, right? But I just think, just in the interest of fairness, I think there's too much the gap now between the top league and the bottom league, and the Championship. I just think there's too much of a class gap between the two of them for it to be a fair competition.
The playoff would be that I know that was Ryan's idea. Sorry, yeah. I mean,
I've been lucky enough to be at both our playoff wins, and you can never. I mean, obviously, you'd love automatic promotion, but going up in the playoffs, there's no better feeling.
No, I agree with that.
So
could you imagine staying up in the playoffs though? Say you're in a relegation battle and you finish 20th in the league, and you get to play a playoff and you win the playoffs, and now you're staying in the league.
I cannot get behind a fucking idea where there could be a fucking Norwich who got, or a Derby, or a West Brom who pick up 9 points in a fucking season, and a team like West Ham, when they went down third from bottom, that pick up 42, and you've got a one-off game to see who goes down. Bollocks to that.
That would be horrible, wouldn't it? Oh, he's frozen. Right.
Bollocks to that.
Yeah. It would. Yeah, if you finished 17th and you went down to fucking 20th, that would be that'd be a sickener. But I think Andrew's got the right idea. The Chelsea bloke's been here 5 minutes and trying to run the gap. I know he's not even fucking.
That's the thing with Americans. They want to try to change everything, don't they? They want to. It's I can't see any of it happen. I mean, it's a good idea. It's a fantasy idea, but you never know. One day it might happen. It might be a one-off game.
Yeah. I mean, trying to change everything. This geezer tried to pitch the Tuchel a 4-4-3 formation. He don't even know how fucking many players are meant to be on the football pitch. Let alone trying to fucking change the game.
There was a lot of Chelsea fans that thought he was going to take over as manager because he has done coaching before, hasn't he? They thought that's why they sacked him. They could put him in charge.
He'd be like the real Ted Lasso. Yeah, people call Jesse Marsh Ted Lasso. He's an accomplished manager. He'd be definitely like Ted fucking Lasso. But the thing is, he's talking about, oh, we do all this in America. How our leagues are set up is so much more entertaining than American sports. There's actual states.
They're franchises, Dan.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the way
I'm saying that as I'm thinking out of a New York Yankees cup.
But they're franchises. That's what they are. They're even their whole leagues and things like football, American football, baseball. You know, they're not set up for competition. They're set up for money making purposes. They're basically money making franchises. That's why you get all these. But you know, in America, it's a little bit. It's a very different sort of format and a different mindset that they've got because they have like their main game, although the NFL is this big billion dollar business, their sort of loyalty is laid to their town and you know their cities and all of this sort of thing, and it's their colleges that are the ones that they support. You know, they're 100% behind the college football. These franchises, they, you know, someone that fucking supports the Oklahoma Raiders one year will support. You know, the Oklahoma Raiders are fuck off to Las Vegas. I think they did. And, you know, they've fucked off to Las Vegas. Yeah, and all of that. LA Raiders and they'll fuck off somewhere else. And then the team are just up, you know, sticks and move to a different part of, you know, thing. And it's a little bit like MK Dons. But that, you know, that was a little bit different. But they're not. Their loyalties don't lie in, you know, these NFL teams. Their loyalties lie in their college. Oakland Raiders, not Oakland, whatever it is. I don't fucking know. You know Oklahoma. What I mean? Like, but you know, whatever it was, you know, but they would just up and fucking leave like town. Like, imagine West Ham just tomorrow they went like that. Yeah, we've had a brilliant time here in East London. Now we're going to Newcastle to set up the Newcastle Hammers. Like. Just fucking up and left, like that's the way they are. So
remember, that
was bad enough, weren't it? So it's literally they're just. That's why you know nobody opposes them bringing NFL games over here because it's literally just like exhibitions for people. They go and see it as as tourists and things like that. That's how they run it over. But all of their loyalties are in their colleges.
Yeah, and like I would say, Todd, just focus on bloody Chelsea first because they're still not playing too well.
They listen, them Americans, mate. They know how it works over there, and they know the money that can be made over there, and they are desperate to get their claws into this game. And the people at the top of this game are desperate to let them. It's us.
The fans won't allow that.
Yeah, it's us that are stopping it, mate, and they're trying.
One thing with our fan base, and not only West Ham, I mean every football club in England, is that they will stick to their fucking guns. You see that with the Super League. I mean, the Chelsea fans, they were the first to protest over it. Then it was Man United the next night. Then Arsenal. You know, they could have all thought, "No, fuck that. That's a good idea." They know where they want to be. They want to be in the competition in England because the Premier League's the best league in the world. You know, and
we don't want it to change. You know, we don't want it messed with, do we? And
we don't want it messed with, but that's why I think that's why they're trying to breed a new breed of fan, and they're trying to drive out.
We're all for ideas, and if they work, they work. But I don't think anyone's going to buy into any of that sort of stuff.
Should we get some questions in before we go? Get your questions in, everyone. Got any questions at all? Obviously, football.
Nothing about American sports.
No.
I don't watch them. I used to watch a bit of NBA actually when I was younger, but
I actually when I went to the baseball when I was in New York, I actually quite enjoyed it. It was quite good seeing like a home run. I was surprised how fast they actually fucking pitched them balls. Like they were throwing them, but I could never hit one of them. So fair play to them people that do it. But
but that's exactly who it's aimed for, mate, and they know that, and that that's accepted there. It just wouldn't be accepted here.
Yeah.
Paulie Warnock says, "I've heard Graham's been in the queue to see the Queen for over a week."
Fucking Jace is trying to drag me to go to that queue at midnight tonight and to go and see the Queen at 9 p.m. tomorrow. He said, "Oh, it's 9 p.m. now. Yeah, it'll be great. We'll just queue for 22 hours."
I'll tell you what, though. I mean, you've probably seen it on the news today, but like David Beckham, he had the opportunity as a like sort of celebrity that he could have gone straight to the front of the queue, but he didn't.
He was knighted as well, wasn't he?
Queued up at 1:45 this morning, and he got in there this afternoon. Where other celebrities and what do you call them, politicians and that, literally think they've got more rights to walk in front of people. The Queen was our Queen, the people's Queen, so they should have to queue just like everyone else. So fair play to David Beckham for that, Listen, I've got no, I went up there last Saturday to pay my respects, lay flowers and that. I'm not in a position where I can queue for that long, obviously during the week because of work, but I mean to queue up for 25. But listen, fair play to everyone that's doing it. And everyone will show their respect and mourn in their own way. They don't mean just because you don't go there, you're not hurting. But it was funny that I think it was an American newspaper or at the headline that this is the queue that the Brits have been practicing for years because we're the only ones that queue. We queue everywhere. You go around the world, no one fucking hardly queues. Like we're polite, we queue.
We know how to queue. Yeah, it just takes like walking somewhere and seeing one person standing behind someone else, and then right, okay, I'm going to stand behind that person. Yeah,
you know what you got to do. Right, there's two people standing behind each other. Let's form a queue.
Yeah, that's all it takes. Yeah, but I agree with everything you've just said. But yeah, I just can't overnight standing there for 22 hours. Even Beckham was saying his back's killing him, and he was standing there for about 9 hours.
Do you know what? I've always I know Beckham had a lot of bad press, but I've always liked David Beckham. Thought he always comes across as a sort of a people's person. He was brought up in the East End of London in a working class family, and he's obviously had a fantastic career, and he's done. He's made of it what he has. But yeah, for him to do that, as I said, he could have gone straight to the front of the queue. But I mean, I see it was it Philip Schofield and Holly Willoughby done it. They went straight to the front. They finished this morning and went straight there and walked past all them people. And I don't think that's right. I think
they're nowhere near on the level of David Beckham.
Of course, but that's why people will respect people because people like David Beckham even more.
Yeah, exactly. Fuck Holly Willoughby and Schofield. But yeah, this question obviously because we touched on the Everton game earlier, but we didn't really give predictions or what we think or anything. So there's a quick chance for us to quickly touch on that with this question: can we beat Everton on Sunday? Of course we can.
Of course we can.
Of course we can beat them. They haven't won, but the problem is that they haven't won a game this season. They're yet to win a game in the league. And that always makes you nervous as a West Ham fan. Always makes you nervous. But it's a great opportunity, I'd say, to win that game.
I agree. I think we've over the past, we never really used to have a good record at Goodison, but over the past few years, we've seemed to have been picking up results there lately. And I think we won our last two games there. We won last season, didn't we? 1-0.
Yeah.
In the season before we won. So, it's going to be tough, but
our record has improved.
Yeah, I think we can get a result. Yeah.
What's your predictions?
I'll say a very tight 2-1.
Yeah, that's what I think. Nick,
2-0.
2-0, interesting. Clean sheet incoming.
Yeah, I think so.
And we obviously know, Ryan, you'd start Skamaka if you could. What you were saying earlier. Yeah, what do you reckon, Nick? And any sort of big changes need to be made for both of you?
I said about Skamaka, but even if he started Antonio, I'd still feel like we can still get something. So
yeah,
I think both will give the defence a hard time. I don't think it matters who we play in that game, to be honest.
And I think they're without Pickford as well, where they've had to get an emergency goalkeeper in, isn't they? So
yeah, Begovic is going to be in goal. He's older than fucking me. So
Begovic. Is that who they signed?
No, they signed a geezer that ain't played a first team game in like 5 years. But Begovic is.
Who's in Newcastle signed that Liverpool keeper that fucked up in the Champions League? You remember when he made them mistakes?
Yeah, Carriers. But they had to sign a keeper that ain't played a first team game in 5 years or something, because Begovic was the only one they had left. And if something happened to him, they would be fucked.
You're watching that
great
game for them. Fucking life now.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise. Yeah, because Pickford's been so good he's bailed them out so many times. But Prince Rupert says we still don't have a striker because DCL's still injured. I thought they signed Mopé, and they got Mopé.
They did.
And he's someone that can get one of them clutch goals. You know, when you need a goal, he can just pull one out last minute. So
I done an opposition preview yesterday, and it's up to go up tomorrow. And they reckon Calvert-Lewin's back.
Really? I thought he'd be out longer than that. Interesting. I mean, yeah, we'll see how much he hasn't. He's been a bit off the ball when he has played. Touch wood, but yeah, they're going to be hard to score against initially. But I think we have what it takes, and I think these wins in Europe are definitely going to give us a bit of confidence. So. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'm saying 2-1, 2-0 from Nicky, 2-1 from Ryan.
Stevie Ray says, boys, who do you want to take over from Umbro?
I mind seeing Adidas come back.
Definitely not Nike.
No, fuck off Nike, man.
Just saying that though, I've seen the New England shirts. I love the away shirt. I love it. I'm
not sure about it.
It's the same more or less as the red 1990 or 92 kit, whatever it was.
Yeah, but I like that shirt as well.
No, but they're nice shirts, but there is no fucking originality anymore.
Well, there is originality. They've tried it with the own one and no one likes it because they've gone from originality.
Yeah, I suppose, Yeah, I suppose. You're fucking damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You come out with something brand new and everyone hates it.
I do like the retro one. I think it's really smart. And you know what? World Cup, all red kit. Come on, England. Let's win it in that.
I might get that. I might get that red one, but I'm just not impressed with.
I prefer the orange women's one. I like that.
The orange one. I think the women's home one is really nice. I think they should have had that.
What they've done with the home shirt this year is they've tried to use the same colours as Euro 96 kit, but it hasn't worked out right.
Yeah, and I really liked those kits actually, the 90s ones, England ones. But I would say, if I had to choose Adidas, I'd like Adidas to take over. Although looking at Adidas, it seems like they only go all out for Arsenal. Like they do Arsenal's kits and put all their effort into that, and everyone else just gets the other shit.
Arsenal have got some banging shirts this year. That black and gold one they've got is lovely, and I think even they've got a pink shirt as well. In there, it looks quite smart.
Yeah,
they're a fucking clothing brand nowadays. Fucking
God's honest truth, mate. Last season, right? They released about 20 shirts.
Yeah.
They've released a kit, which I'm going to call a fifth kit because it basically is a fucking fifth kit. It's like it looks like Jamaican colours. Yeah. And I went see Robbie in it, and I said, "Well, what the fuck's that? I thought you already had 4 kits." And he's like, "Yeah, this is a training top. It's a kit. It's got the fucking sponsor. It's exactly set up like a kit. They're just releasing kits like willy nilly.
They're releasing a kit to celebrate the kit that they've released before.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Embarrassing.
What happened to the good old days when your home shirt used to last 2 seasons?
Ah,
Oh, yeah, you won't
what happened
see
to the
that
even better old days when my old man was a fucking kid? When you bought a plain shirt and sewn your own badge on.
Yeah, sew your own badge on and sew your own number on. Imagine
Yeah.
doing that now. Imagine giving them to kids now. They'd be like, fuck off.
Wasn't it Brentford who decided not to release a new kit, or was it for it was
No,
one
It
team?
was Brentford. I
Brentford.
think they kept their same home shirt.
They kept, which is good on them. Good on them
Yeah.
for doing that. I love that when teams do shit like that. But
but they charged
Adidas,
180 quid for it.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, it'll be last for 2 seasons, 180 quid for the 2
The only
seasons.
I would like to see like a traditional sort of brand come back to do our shirt,
Pony.
like an old,
Pony.
No, not so. I think like a Hummel or an Admiral or something. I'd like to see that because I think they make classic shirts, and I think the newer sort of shirts now, I just think there's too much shit that goes into them. Like them, some of them Tottenham shirts are fucking awful. Like I mean, fucking awful. Like I don't know what they're doing. But as Ryan said, it's catch-22, isn't it? Because I'm moaning about the England kits. I fucking whinged about the fucking, like, even Umbro doing it, coming up with something new. And then I whinge when they fucking, they say, well, you don't like anything new. We'll come up with something fucking old. And I think, oh, well, come up with something new. And then it goes around in a fucking circle, doesn't it?
Surely we're going to run out of shirts to take on like classic versions of, because that's what every season, isn't it? A lot of the time it's a take on an older shirt.
Ken Hammers saying, son, you got to wait till Christmas for your kitty in my childhood. Mate, that was the same in my childhood as well.
Yeah, and mine. I had to save up my fucking pocket money like a fucking bastard to try and get one at the beginning of the season.
I used to walk down the parking road and walk past Vin Sports and see that West Ham shirt. Do you remember they used to put it on the little mannequin in the window?
Yeah.
I used to walk past that and I think, Mum, please let me get that. And I used to have to wait till like my birthday or Christmas.
I remember having to get I was doing like, when I was a kid, I was doing, odd jobs to earn £1 here and £2 there. I remember at Vin Sports putting the England, you remember the 94 kit, the one with a little badge there, the little tiny badge on the thingy, right?
Like that.
And I remember having the whole kit put on lay-by, when you have to pay off like £10 every 2 weeks or whatever. It took me so long to pay it off. By the time I paid it off, I had it for a week and I bought out a new one.
This is an interesting stat. I didn't realise this. Last time we had the same home kit from one season was the Job Serve kit from 05 to 07.
Yeah, that was Reebok, wasn't it?
Reebok, yeah, we had Reebok. I didn't mind some of the Reebok ones. The last Adidas run, I weren't a big fan of.
My favourite Reebok shirt was the FA Cup final white shirt. I love that kit.
Yeah.
That was such a nice design as well. The worst one was that navy one with the yellow Job Server on it. Do you remember that?
Yeah, mate. I had that, yeah.
That was horrible. It was so massive as well. Like, it was the sleeves.
Yeah. The thing is, they were shit, but I wish I didn't get rid of some of them, because they were, you have them and then you're like, oh yeah, get rid of some old shirts.
The thing is, back when I used to go West Ham, like as a kid, if you wore a shirt that was a couple of seasons old, people used to take the piss out of you. Yeah, now people are dying to wear like old retro ones and that. Like, honestly, your mates used to say, "Oh, look at you, you're poor because you ain't got the new shirt."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, last season's shirt, mate. You wouldn't even fucking bother putting it on.
No, now people are walking around the London Stadium wearing like shirts from like the BAC era and that, like early 90s.
I remember one of the earliest times that I remember someone wearing a retro shirt. Ryan was there. Is when we played Preston in the playoff final, and we was having banter with the away fans, and there was a geezer, and when I say this geezer must have picked fucking shirt out of his childhood fucking drawer. Do you remember him, right?
Yeah,
he had like a old Preston top one from the 80s or something, and I swear down, his belly was showing. He wasn't big. He wasn't a big fella, like he was drunk, but he wasn't big. But it come up to like his belly button, and he had the sleeves were up there. Like it was the tiniest shirt I've ever had. Like it looked like someone had dared him to wear it.
What's that got to do with his size? That made me laugh. When he weren't a big fella, he was drunk though.
I don't know. No, but normally, you get someone that's like massively fat.
I remember him because didn't he have one of them like little trilby hats on as well? Like,
Yeah. But it's like it was like someone had dared him to wear this shirt for the game, and now everyone wears them, man. They fucking reproduce them now.
Yeah, they do. The clubs still sell them. You can get an official site in that. They've got them all.
Yeah, the club jumped on that, didn't they? They brought out the it's the Buckter ones, isn't it?
Yeah, Buckter ones and the Apple ones.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the job serve and spo bets are quite in demand now though, like because they're hard to get, they're rare. So I've seen a lot of people looking for them ones.
Even when you go on like classic football shirts, they're like £100 to buy them. Some of them.
Has anyone? I'm trying to look at questions. This is the only question that's there, which is on the back of that. Has anyone still got our shirts made by Scoreline?
No.
Scoreline. Who's Scoreline?
That
was
it. 70s, wasn't it? Or
yeah, I wasn't alive then.
Way back.
Someone posted a question when we was talking about the queue, saying, "What is the longest queue?" I think it was Philip. What's the longest queue you've ever queued up in? Mine would have to be that year when I went to meet the Rock up London, man. I was queuing for about 9 hours to see that geezer, and I didn't even get a photo of him. Shook you down. I got through the door. Nicky didn't get through the barrier. He got caught. I took Gary in there and my other mate, and literally we got through the doors, and we thought, because we jumped in the queue, we thought, we had to queue for another 5-6 hours after that.
Yeah, I was outside. I don't queue. I just don't queue. I don't like it.
I'm not the biggest fan of queuing.
The only other long ones is probably when you go to theme parks and that. Like I remember I went to Thorpe Park and we queued up nearly 3.5 hours to go on a ride that lasted like 2 seconds.
I don't queue. The longest I've ever queued in a theme park was an hour, and even then I was pissed off. And I think the longest queues is fucking like actually standing in a line is when I go through the fucking passport control in some of these airports nowadays, man. They take hours.
I tell you, the queue to get into the fucking London Stadium sometimes feels like fucking hours lately since they started that pissing NFC shit. But Michael Jackson, Wembley was probably quite a long queue I was in.
Chris is saying, I'm in a Chinese restaurant in Spain, pissed out my head in sangria, and your face has just popped up on my phone. LOL irons. Mate, I've never been more jealous in my life than I am right now. In Spain, having a Chinese pissed out of his head on sangria. Love it, mate. Love it.
There's nothing better than a Chinese when you're pissed out of your head.
I had a Chinese last night watching the football. Little cheeky Chinese on a Thursday night. That was because Andy Miles got in my head. He loves a Chinese old Andy. He got in my head, and I just thought, I've got to have one now. Got to have one.
The only question is this. I'm looking for questions. Anyone see the Palace guard keel over from standing up? No.
Yeah, he passed out, didn't he? I'll tell you what, though. The people that are queuing up that are lucky enough to get in there tonight, I think it was from 7:30 onwards. The changing in the guard is the kids like Prince Charles or King Charles, sorry, William Edward and Princess Anne are going to be guarding the coffin for a couple of hours. So imagine walking through in that moment and seeing that. That's a bit of history. I can't get used to saying King Charles. I keep saying Prince Charles because I said it for so long.
I keep thinking of a dog. When you say that, a dog pops into my head. King Charles, fucking Cavalier. I used to have one of those. King Charles, yeah, weird one. Have you ever been Egypt? I've not been Egypt. Did you go Egypt, Nick?
Yeah, but a couple times, yeah.
I thought you went.
I've never been Egypt.
Apparently, it's really fucking hot. I don't think I could deal with it.
It's nice, man.
It'd be good to see all the pyramids and stuff and the history. That'd be quite good.
Yeah,
no, don't go there. That's fucking shite there.
The pyramids are like KFCs in them and that. They're not exactly like your history, is it? Yeah. They're KFCs and things in them.
No, it's like the thing is about the pyramids. The pyramid's fantastic. Like the thought of them are fantastic, but reality, mate, you go there and people just trying to con you all the time, and there's not a lot to see. There's not a lot to see. They're just big bricks, and everything's gone. They've been raided fucking thousands of times now. There isn't a lot to see there. To be fair, it's good to see. Like Valley of the Kings and that is good, but in terms of pyramids, it's just a big place where people just try and con you for all your fucking money. It gets
You like that, right?
That's like us turning the Tower of London into a massive Weatherspoons. You know what I mean?
What weird thing. All them slaves that probably died building those fucking things thousands of years ago. And I know.
Yeah, now you go in there and get a fucking bucket mill.
Yeah. Weird. I thought here's one for you, Rice, specifically. Fury or Joshua? I'm Fury all day long.
Oh yeah, Fury all day long for me, but it won't happen. I can't say that.
So? I thought they agreed it.
They've agreed it, but it won't happen. Someone will pull out, and I don't know. I mean, Joshua needs it. I mean, he's got nothing to lose now, apart from if he loses, that'd be 3 in a row, wouldn't it? So,
I thought he was supposed to be fighting Deontay Wilder. I thought he was just supposed to be.
I don't know. Boxing's all over the shop at the moment. I mean, even Eubank Ben, I was looking so forward to that fight. I know it's still on at the moment, but I said it at the time. I can still see Eubank pulling out. So
I remember watching an idiot abroad, and Carl Pilkington said the pyramids looked like a game of Jenga that got out of hand.
I was watching that the other night. That idiot abroad.
I fucking love it, man.
Yeah,
he's my favourite comedian of all time.
It don't matter how many times I see them, they still make me laugh. It's just how miserable he is. It's just. I like the one that the one I was watching the other day was when he had the wig put on, and he was so happy. He just looked so happy with it.
Oh yeah, the wig. I've seen that. I think he's the perfect, typical British person.
Yeah,
it's like if you was encapsulate someone who's British into like a person and showing like that's what British people are.
It's just the things he comes out with, and he don't even mean to be funny. It's like I remember watching one, right. There was when he done the first or second idiot, one of the two of them, and it was at the time when Sky were launching their HD, like Sky One HD, and everything was like HD this and HD that. And I remember him saying, and they was really pushing this even in the program. It's like one of the first programs that filmed in HD, and he went to like somewhere that was covered in snow, and he went fucking HD. It ain't even worth having it in colour, let alone HD. And it's just things like that make me fucking die, mate.
It's just that British sense of humour, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the funniest ones I remember watching it at the time, and I was crying, and it was the one when he was doing it with Warwick Davis, and he had him on the kite and he was flying him, and Warwick Davis was panicking. But Cole Pilkington was just so happy, like he was flying Warwick Davis on this kite thing.
I'd fucking be panicking as well. If I was fucking.
I have listened to every podcast that they've ever done. I've listened to even the radio shows. They're all online. I listen to them often because you can just listen to them over and over and over again, and you hear something different in them, man. It's so fun. Honestly, he used to do this thing called Rockbusters. We used to do like cryptic clues, but they was fucking like they weren't cryptic, they was just nonsense, like, you know what I mean? And he always used to think they was cryptic, like like for instance, like it used to be like he used to give you a clue, and it used to be the name of a singer, and he said once something like there's a lady kneeling in a puddle in Texas. And the answer's like Whitney Houston. And it was like, but her name ain't Whitney Houston, it's fucking Whitney. And he's like, yeah, but it's cryptic.
Fucking Whitney.
Yeah.
No, he's a funny bloke. He should do more. He don't really do anything really now on the TV, does he? I know he went into a bit of acting, didn't he?
I think he's basically finished, mate.
I think that they still need to try to get him in I'm a Celebrity, because I think he'd be the bollocks in that. You imagine him in the Australian jungle moaning 24/7. People would just put him up for the task all the time. I think it'd be brilliant, but I don't think you'll get him now.
15 Taiwan. That was like a game show he was trying to come out with. He used to come up with the names of game shows and try and fit them around
15 to 1.
Taiwan. And he used to say you used to get 15 items and you have to pick the one that's from Taiwan. Honestly, fucking brilliant, man. Honestly, they are. Honestly. All right. Are we ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I'm happy if you are. I can go and have a shower. I've been rushing around after work today. So I literally got in at like 7:24 and had to literally chuck this top on, take my work top off and get ready for this show. But like an hero, I was on time.
Nice.
Yeah,
it was a good one.
I've got such a busy day tomorrow, man. I've got to be up. I'm up at 1. Go work. And then I've got to go straight from work to tailors to have my wedding suits, like the final fittings of them. And then from there, I'm coming back to pick up Chloe. We're going out for something to eat, and then we're going to go and watch Hamilton.
Oh, my brother loves that. He raves about it.
Yeah, we're going to go and watch that on like tomorrow night.
What,
and then after that,
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
What? You been there?
No, I haven't been there, but when I was in New York, I went to this restaurant and it was, they do like little shows, Stardust, I think it was called. And he kept doing Hamilton and it wound me up. It just wound me up. And like, I just don't think it's going to be a bit of you.
I know, but it's
enjoy it. But I don't know. I don't think you're going to enjoy it because it's all like rapping and. Like,
yeah,
I know. I've still got the gist of it. I've listened to the CD 400,000 times in the car. So, so we're going to go and see that. She's always wanted to see that, so we're going to see that. And then she wants to walk past Buckingham Palace, which is fair play. It's not like it's going to be busy or anything, but we will do that. And then I'm up at about 4 for Everton on Sunday. Got to go to Everton. I'm driving as well. Got to drive there, drive home, make sure everyone gets there and about, and then I'm back up at 1 o'clock on Monday morning for work.
Okay, no rest for the wicked.
No rest for the wicked,
as they say. Well, hopefully Hamilton's at least fucking great, and we get 3 points on Sunday, and you'll be feeling pretty good about yourself.
Yeah. At least you got Monday off, or are you back in work Monday?
No, I'm back in, mate. Back in.
Before we got this super chat, you read it out. I can't believe someone's done a super chat for this, but I really appreciate Walker 11 179 super chat. Thank you. Paqueta will soon be fed up. Hashtag Moyes out. I can't believe someone's. Well, that's it. We'll see. It's early doors, mate. It's early doors. I think he's watching it behind when we was talking about that. He's not even gonna see us read. He probably click off the video before he sees that we've read it out. Probably think, yeah, they didn't fucking read my message, but we read it. So yeah, no, good show. Like I said, weren't like loads of big stories to talk about as usual, but we still had some great debates, some great chats. And thank you to everyone who's joined us and got involved. And we'll be back over the weekend for some content for the Everton game, fan cams, watch-alongs, reactions, morning after games before, once Nicky's got some sleep, all of that business. Anything else on the horizon? That podcast is up. Podcast is out. If you haven't checked it out, it's on the Patreon. If you are a Patreon, go ahead there. If you're not, consider checking it out. Consider signing up.
Shit quality this week. Podcast shit quality. Didn't like it.
There's a glowing endorsement, if ever I've heard one. Go and check.
No, I'm just being honest, mate. I didn't like it when I was listening back to it. I didn't like the quality of it.
Yeah,
but all the others are good quality.
Crackly, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was shit. I was disappointed.
It's a one-off. All the future ones will be back to usual quality. And yeah, lots of good content covering the Everton game coming up. Do subscribe, give us a like. And one thing left to say, guys.
Come on, you irons. Come on, you irons.
Here's the awkward bit where